What if I told you there was a legendary lumberjack named Jigger Johnson who stood 7 feet tall, had hands like car tires and an appetite to match? You might think I'm spinning a yarn, but this tale is as real as the sawdust in my shop. Well, maybe not that part. You see, growing up in the Pacific Northwest, I heard many a tall tale about lumberjacks, and one name kept popping up: Jigger Johnson. Now, my grandpa was a logger, and he knew a thing or two about big eaters, so when I heard about Jigger, I had to investigate. Now, the story goes that Jigger Johnson was a logger who worked in the Willamette Valley in the early 1900s. He was a giant of a man, over 7 feet tall with hands like car tires, and he had an appetite to match his size. They say he could eat a whole roast ox in one sitting, washing it down with a gallon of milk. But let's be real. How much of this story is fact and how much is tall tale? Well, the truth is, nobody knows for sure. There are conflicting accounts of his birth year, his height, and even his real name. Some say he was born in 1862, while others claim he wasn't born until 1890, and his height seems to vary depending on the story. In some tellings, he's a strapping 7'6", but other accounts put him at a more manageable, albeit still impressive, 7'2". As for his real name, well, that's a mystery as well. Some say he was born James Johnson, while others claim his given name was Charles, but to all those who know him, he was simply Jigger. The story of Jigger Johnson reminds me of another legendary lumberjack, Paul. Like Paul, Jigger's name became synonymous with tall tales and folklore. But unlike Paul, whose exploits have been meticulously documented in books and songs, Jigger's story is a bit more fragmented. In fact, the only surviving written account of Jigger comes from a single newspaper article published in 1939. It tells the story of a man named James Johnson, a logger from Oregon who set a record by eating 2 pounds of beans in one sitting. The article also mentions that Johnson was 7 feet tall with hands the size of dinner plates. Now, I couldn't find any evidence that this record was ever officially certified, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. After all, this was the era when lumberjacks were bigger than life. As I delved deeper into Jigger's story, I realized that he might not just be a figment of my imagination. There are a few clues that suggest he may have been based on a real person. For example, there are several newspaper articles from the early 1900s that mention a large man named Jigger working as a logger in the Willamette Valley. Plus, back in 2016, a man named Bill Maxwell, who was a logger just like his father before him, told the Dune City Chronicle that his dad used to tell him stories about a 7-foot-tall logger named Jigger Johnson. So was Jigger Johnson a real lumberjack or just a mythical figure? I'll let you be the judge of that. But one thing's for certain, his story is a reminder of the fascinating history of logging in the Pacific Northwest and the larger-than-life characters who made it their life's work. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. And as always, thanks for watching.